What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? I hope you guys are having an awesome Tuesday afternoon. I know my day's pretty good. It's sunny here in the state of Wisconsin. Um, Waking up to sun feels great. It's cold, but it's sunny. I wanted to hop on real quick because there's so much going on. There's so much going on in the news here in America. There's so much happening, right? We got this new thing now where they're trying to impeach Donald Trump. And it's not because they're trying to get him out of office. He only has like 10 days left or whatever, but it's because of all the of that he won't be able to run in 2024, and he won't get any of the benefits once he is no longer president. Um, but what I really want to talk about is the censoring. And I know I talked about it in the last video, and I talked about how we all need to come together, and I still believe that, right? So I was a Republican. And I voted for Donald Trump in 2020. I did. But after seeing what took place, and I'm not talking about Trump losing, right? I believe that there was voter fraud. Was it enough voter fraud for him to win? I don't know, right? But the bottom line is, here's the deal. The deal is that the integrity of the election, right? They did cheat. Whether or not, it doesn't matter that if they didn't cheat, they would still have won. It's that they cheated in the first place, right? And there's no place in our election system for cheaters. Not Donald Trump, not Joe Biden, not Hillary, not anybody. I don't care who it is. There's no room for you to cheat. And if Donald Trump would have cheated, if this would have happened with Donald Trump, I would be saying the same thing, even though I voted for him and sat on that side of the aisle. The reason I no longer sit on the Republican side of the aisle is because of the GOP, right? Because of the Republicans. They don't stand up. They're cowards. And right now in this country, we need a political party to stand up and say, hey, this is not okay. You can't just censor the most powerful man in the country when he hasn't, excuse me, my allergies. I can't believe that I have allergies in winter. It blows my mind. The fact that they can just censor the most powerful man in this country and without anything, there's no reason. He didn't entice any violence. He said, I'll see you guys there. It was a protest, right? It was a protest. And we can't forget the months and months of Black Lives Matter and Antifa protesting and burning down buildings and killing people. I mean, literally killing people, beating up old people. It seems that we have forgot about that. And I don't care if you sit on the Democratic side or the Republican side, or you sit in the middle as an independent. We can't forget that these people got on Twitter and said, we need to kill the police. Their tweets never got taken down. But Donald Trump gets on there and says, hey, I'll see you patriots there on the 6th. That's not enticing violence. That's saying, let's go there and protest, right? Because that's how stuff gets done. You know, they say that's how stuff gets done. I don't think it gets done by just protesting. Unfortunately, I think it takes a force to get it done. But here we are in 2021, right? They're there on the 6th. There is a few people that die, and that's unfortunate. But what happened at the Capitol was nowhere near what BLM or Antifa has done for the last year. It is nowhere near. And all of these politicians went out and they didn't condemn Antifa or BLM. They didn't say anything. They enticed it. Kamala Harris enticed it. Nancy Pelosi enticed it. Maxine Waters, all of these individuals who are in our government enticed the violence from BLM. They should not sit down. There should be civil unrest. But the minute that Republicans, or conservatives rather, go to the Capitol and say, we won't stand for this. We're not going to stand for it, to live in a country where you're trying to take our rights away. You're trying to take our freedom of speech. You're trying to take our guns. You're trying to rewrite history. And we get let into the Capitol. We didn't break into it. They let us in there because we own that building. That building is ours. We pay for that building, just like we pay for the politicians who work in that building, right? So we have a right to go in there and listen to these politicians and get answers from these politicians. But we are considered terrorists. Now, I wasn't there, obviously. I wasn't personally there, but we as conservatives are considered terrorists. And what happened was just so unconstitutional. But it wasn't unconstitutional when they were burning down Minneapolis. It wasn't unconstitutional when they were wrecking buildings in New York City. It wasn't unconstitutional when they were destroying Chicago. And it's not unconstitutional that all these businesses in New York have lost, have shut down and gone through such a terrible experience because of their governor, because of all of this. I mean, listen, it's amazing how we can just completely just take a narrative and spin it, and people believe that. The sad part about this country is that people believe that. People believe that the conservatives are somehow terrorists, and these individuals who took over City Hall and burned down police stations are somehow martyrs in this world, especially in this country. And that's unfortunate that that's where we've gotten in this country. It's unfortunate that that's where we're at. We're at a point where if you go out and you burn a city to the ground, but you believe in BLM and you did it because of Black Lives Matter, or you were part of Antifa, you are not a threat. You're not a terrorist. You're not a threat. You're just somebody who's had enough and your voice isn't heard. But if you're a conservative and you feel cheated out of the election in which you voted in, you're considered a terrorist. If you go out and protest because of that, and you go out and protest because the politicians, Republican and Democrat both, have done nothing for the people, I want you to understand something. It took them roughly, 6 to 8 months to pass another stimulus package to give everyone $600, right? And it takes them what? It's going to take them a week to try to impeach Donald Trump. It's unfortunate that we live in this country. It's unfortunate that everybody's not waking up to this, and people aren't saying, hey, this isn't okay. Hey, this isn't right. We need to do something about this. We need to let them know that it's not okay. It's not okay for them to be doing this. We need to fight back and let them know that we, the people, are the ones that run this country. And I don't know how many times I have to say it, and I don't know who I have to reach out to get that point across. But, and I like what I've seen going around, this new party, right? The Patriot Party. I love that, and I think it's fantastic. That's all I got to say. I'm not going to say any more. I'm not going to keep on rambling and ranting and going on and on and on and on. But I do think that I don't know when people will wake up. I don't know. I don't know when people will wake up. I don't know when people, whether it's Democrats, Republicans, or independents, will sit back and say, hold on a minute. If they can censor the president and all these other conservatives, what happens when a Democrat gets on there and says something they don't like? They'll just censor you. They'll just get rid of you. They'll just delete you as if you don't even exist. When you can turn your TV on and the news station that you're watching is only reporting what they want to report, but not what actually is happening. I mean, let's just say there was civil unrest, right? In a city above where you live. Let's just say I live in Janesville, Wisconsin, right? Let's say in Madison, Wisconsin, there was civil unrest, and the news stations decided they don't want to report it because they don't feel like it, because they feel they shouldn't have to report that, and they can choose what they want to report. And let's say they just report that everything is all in well, right? And then you find out, oh man, there's problems going on. I should have been stocking up on water or food or whatever, but you didn't, right? You didn't get a chance to protect yourself and your family because the news stations never gave you the opportunity to do that because they only reported what they wanted to report. And that's what's happening right now. Right? When you go on Facebook and you see all these news and all this articles, everything's always against Donald Trump, right? It's always against conservatives. But you're not seeing real news, the actual news, actual reporting, actual journalism. You don't see that anymore. It's just a bunch of actors on TV that are acting, reporting of what they want to report of the news, twisting it the way they want to twist the narrative. And I want to run something by everybody that does listen to this. If you are a Democrat, I have to know. The Democrats say that the Republicans are the ones that are oppressive and that are ruining this country. But as we've just seen in the last few days, right? The last 4 days or 5 days, Democrats basically own every publishing company, every major social media company, every major institution. So, if Republicans are the ones that are so oppressive, how is it that Democrats almost own every major outlet in this country? I would have to say that the Democrats are the ones that have been oppressive, and the Democrats are the ones that have been causing the problem, based on, if they're the only ones that own all these major outlets, and things are in chaos because of the way they're reporting it, then I feel like they could be the problem. I mean, just if you're a Democrat, just stop just stop for 10 minutes. Take 10 minutes out of your day, 5 or 10 minutes out of your day, and do some really good, hardcore, deep research, right, about the Democratic Party, and do the same about the Republican Party. Okay? Really research Joe Biden, right? Really research this guy. And really research Donald Trump. That's fine. And you don't have to like Donald Trump after you're done researching. But if you're a Democrat, really sit down and think about what the government is doing. And I'm not talking about specifically Democrats. I'm talking about the government in a whole, in its entirety, is doing to the American people. What they have done to the American people. And I know that some of you believe in this coronavirus, and I'm not saying it's fake, right? Because my family had it, my fiance had it. I never got it, thankfully, but I know people who've had it, and I know the symptoms that they had, which was pretty much none. But look at what's happened to this country. The government has just come in and shut down privately owned businesses. They've told privately owned businesses what to do. They've taken months to pass stimulus packages to help these businesses. Really look at what the government is doing. What are they preparing the people for? And I know, look, people can call me a conspiracy theorist, and they got a tinfoil hat on and sitting on my roof. But what are they preparing us for, right? They're only giving us the news that they want us to hear. They're only telling us what they want us to know. They've shut everything down. There was a shortage on food and toilet paper in the beginning. There's all these problems. There's a second wave of coronavirus. There's 10 different mutations of it, right? What is the government preparing us for? What is it? What is the government getting ready to do? And I know this sounds crazy, but I hope that everybody who watched this has their ducks in a row, has their sheep put away in the barn. And I know I said it before, but I hope everybody is prepared for the worst. Because I don't believe it's going to just get better. I don't believe that when Joe Biden gets inaugurated, everything's just going to be the joyous time in the world and everybody's going to be so happy. I don't believe that. I believe it's going to get pretty bad. I do believe there's sunshine at the end of the tunnel. There's sunshine at the end. There's light at the end of that rainbow. Okay? But it's going to be a while. It's going to be a dark time. And it's going to take a while to get back to where we were. And there's going to be some issues and there's going to be some problems, but I believe it's going to get worse before it gets better. But I do believe it's going to get better. But I just want people to wake up. I don't care if you're Democrat or Republican. I just want you to wake up. I just want you to wake up, and I want you to smell the coffee. I want you to stop smelling that stinky poop, that stinky poo-poo, okay? And I want you to wake up, and I want you to smell the coffee, and I want you to think, Jesus, the government has held us back. I mean, the government is doing things that's hurting the American people. The government no longer works for us. The government now works for themselves and just creating more power and more authoritarianism over the American people. And that's not what we're about here in America. And like I said in the last video, I don't care if you're here illegally. If you are here, guess what? You can fight like an American. Okay? I don't care what color you are. I don't care what race you are. You're an American in this country. That's a number one priority, is that you are an American in this country. And the scariest thing for the government, because they're trying to divide us. Let's be honest here. They are being divisive, and they're trying to divide us as a race. They're trying to reintroduce segregation by having all black colleges and all, they're definitely trying to do that. And that's unfortunate that we're going back in time instead of forward. But the scariest thing for the government is all of us banding together. Democrats and Republicans, white, black, Asian, Mexican, all of us banding together and saying, you work for us, you're going to help us. That's the scariest thing for the government. And that's where we need to be. And that's where we need to go, is literally to unite as Americans and say, you're going to work for us. You don't get to just tell us what we can and cannot do. You are going to work for us. That's all I got today. I really am. I'm going to keep on reiterating this every few days. I'm going to be getting on here and I'm going to keep on saying the same thing until it starts to really hit home for people, because it's not about, QAnon. It's not about conspiracy theorists. It's not about any of this. It's literally about the government trying to overtake the American people. And the American people need to wake up and see it before it's too late. Because once it's too late, it's too late. And you don't want to be in the back of that bandwagon, or you don't want to be in the back of that sheep wagon getting taken to a FEMA camp or getting taken to some sort of a prison camp where you're going to spend the rest of your days, because that's what they want. I'm not a sheep. I'll never be a sheep. And I'll die before the government ever tries to take my rights away as an American. And I hope the rest of America and Americans that live in America believe that, because people overseas believe that. I mean, you got people in Hong Kong that are out protesting, for Donald Trump anyway, and for America, and they don't even live here because of their life over there, because their life over there is so communistic that's. So we have to get our shit together, people. We got to get our shit together, and we got to come together as Americans.